Time dilation doesn't exist. Robert D. Talbot. Introduction. In conversations with Mr. Les Lorenzo, a friend who is knowledgeable on relativity, I told him that my analysis indicated that time dilation did not occur and provided him with the analysis. Time dilation will cause a twin in a spaceship to age less than their counterpart on Earth. Most physicists agree that this is real. He asked me to have the analysis reviewed by credible sources because it seemed to make sense to him and was contrary to what he had learned on the subject. I'm including my analysis below and ask for your evaluation of it. Time. Delta T is equal to an increment of time for light to travel L Earth meters. C is the speed of light, which is a universal constant in Earth meters per second. C delta T equals L Earth meters. Delta T equals L in meters divided by C in meters per second, which equals L over C, L divided by C seconds, which is a universal constant for a fixed value of L, which means time can't be dilated. I conclude that an increment of time is determined by the length that light travels in that increment and is not subject to dilation. Derivation of time dilation. Delta T is the time and a tick of light of the light clock used in the derivation for the clock traveling at velocity v. Delta T0 is the time and the tick at velocity v equals 0. The time of a tick is the time for the pulse of light to return to its source. The square root of 1 minus v divided by c squared, I'm going to use is equal to a. 1 is greater than a, and a is greater than 0. C is the speed of light. The result of the derivation is delta t sub v equals delta t0 divided by a, and a delta t sub v equals delta t0. Those are actually both the same, just written differently. We have a table below, and the table shows the ticks in time for v equals 0 and for v greater than 0. The first line shows that for one tick of delta tv, the time is delta t0 divided by a, and the time at v equals 0 is the same, delta t0 divided by a, and the number of ticks at v0 is 1 divided by a. The second line shows that we have one tick at delta t0, and we have a, which is a portion of a tick at delta tv, and the time is delta tv0. And that information comes from the formula shown at the right. As the velocity increases, a decreases, delta t sub v increases, and the number of ticks decrease in exact quantity to keep the time the same. Every line is a multiple of either of the lines above. There is no time dilation. An example is given for v equals 0.8 c. A, the square root of 1 minus 0.8 squared equals the square root of 0.36, which equals 0.6, which equals 3/5. The above shows as a table of ticks at time v equals 0 and v equals 0.8. On line 15, the time is the same, and we could fill in the empty spaces with the dash. I call it dash, could be used to construct the whole table. A equals 3/5. Delta T sub V equals 5/3 of delta T0. 3/5 of delta TV equals delta T0. 3 delta TV equals 5 delta T0, which comes from the derivation delta T sub V equals delta T0 divided by 3/5. I now have at V0, we have the ticks and the time. At V equals 0.8 C, we have the time and the ticks. Let's go down and take a look at line 15. Line 15 says that there's 5 ticks at T0. Time is 5 delta T0. There are 3 ticks at V equals 0.8, and the time is 5 delta T0. It comes from the equation at the right, which is listed up above, and it says 3 delta TV equals 5 delta T0. That says is 3 ticks of delta TV equals 5 ticks at delta T0. So you fill that line in, and if you look at it, there's enough information on that to fill every other and the 15 lines above. N sub V equals the number of ticks at V greater than 0. N0 equals the number of ticks at V equals 0. Time is the number of ticks times the time per tick. There is A of a tick at V greater than 0 for each tick at V equals 0. Therefore, N sub V equals A N0. N sub V times delta T sub V is going to equal A N0, which is N sub V, times delta TV, which is T0 divided by A, and that equals N0 delta T0. That indicates that the times are equal at all velocities. There is no time dilation. Formula used for time dilation. Delta T sub D, which means delta T dilated, equals A delta T0, not dilated. The derivation for time dilation shows that delta TV equals delta T0 over A. There is no credible explanation on how the formula used was obtained from the derivation. For V equals 0.8 C, the dilation factor that is used is 3/5. There are 3 ticks from the moving clock. At the time, there are 5 ticks from the stationary clock. For the time to be dilated by 3/5, the time in a tick at 0.8 of a C would have to be delta T0. The derivation result is that it is 5 delta T0 divided by 3, which shows there is not dilation. Time is not dilated. How the formula is used. A spaceship travels at 0.8 C for 1 year, covering a distance of 0.8 light years. A person in the ship ages 0.6 of a year. The person in the ship traveling 0.8 of a light year in 0.6 of a year, meaning that they now have traveled faster than the speed of light. And that's an impossibility. Your mass will become infinite as you approach the speed of light, and you can't ever exceed it. You can't get enough energy to move something faster than the speed of light. It's an impossibility. The first section generated the argument that an increment of time is defined by the length that light travels in that increment and is constant over the whole universe. If the increment of time is constant over the whole universe, then the passage of time has to be constant over the whole universe. The section on the derivation of time dilation shows there is no time dilation. The section on the formula for time dilation states there is no explanation which can explain how it was arrived at. People on the internet have asked that question over and over again, and they don't get an answer. The section on how the formula is used shows a passenger on the spaceship can exceed the speed of light. There is an added section which reviews details about the above information in part 2.